alaikum everybody, and welcome to another video in the Our Ramadan series. If you're wondering why I'm wearing the same hijab as the last video, it is because I'm filming these back to back. Ramadan is coming around super soon and I really wanted to get all of this content out to you guys, so I'm trying to work as quickly as possible. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Ramadan good deed calendar. If you're not familiar with the Ramadan good deed calendar that I do for my children, I started this last year writing in good deeds for the kids and putting it on this little frame here, and each envelope had one good deed in it, and then they would open the envelope and do the good deed for the day. I changed that around a little bit this year, and I actually printed out cards that have been really popular, to the point that we've sold out of all of them. And so each person got a pack of cards, a pack of envelopes, and some stickers to seal the envelopes with. We've sold out of all the kits, but I do have a printable version up on my website, and I will leave the link in the description box below, so you can purchase the printable, print it out, cut them out and use them in a calendar of your own, or just even in a jar for your children to pick from every day and do a good deed. When I did my video announcing the cards and the kits, and that I was going to be making them available for people to buy, I did promise that I would do a video going through the kinds of activities that you can do with your children, and the ones that I'm going to do with mine that correspond to each card. So I'm going to do that today, and very quickly I wanted to go into how I actually made the calendar, just in case you haven't seen my video from last year. So this is an IKEA Fiskbo frame. It is I believe it's the 50 by 70 size. I'm not 100% certain, but I will leave the link in the description box below for you to check out. The frame is only £5 and it comes in different colors, black, white, blue and pink, I believe. So if you want to make it very, kid friendly, you can. This is going in our living room, so I like it to be as neutral as possible, and I also intend to reuse this every year, so I don't want it to be a color that I know might not work in different spaces. And then I've just got 30 envelopes alongside it. I did put a sort of like a wallpaper. I'm not really sure what this is. It's like a textured paper that I've had for quite a while, and it's not the same white as the envelopes, and I wanted them to stand out a little bit, so I put that into the frame. So that's what's at the back of it. You can even paint that one, I think. You could put anything you want at the back, maybe like a printed fabric or something else, if you don't want to go for a crazy colored frame, but you want the background to pop a little bit, whatever you think is best. I am going to put up the little masjid and the star and the moon that I had last year. I just need to cut them out again with my cutters, but each envelope I've stuck on with some white tack so that it will be able to come off really easily. And I do not fill the calendar, which is why the cards are all still out. I don't fill the calendar until the night before Ramadan, when we know Ramadan is going to be the next day, because I will explain why as we go through the cards. But that is basically how I put this together. It's fairly simple to do. There's really not much to it. Again, you don't have to do it this way. You could use a cork board, you could use whatever it is that you want. I prefer to frame, which is why I did it this way. So jumping straight into the activities that you can do with your children. If you've already got these, if you've already got the cards, you will be familiar with the ones that I'm talking to you about now. But if you haven't, again, the printable is linked in the description box, so you can grab one there, or even if you don't get the printable, just benefit from some of the ideas for good deeds that you can do with your children this month. So some of them are very generic, like writing a thank you note, pray with your parents, do something nice for your sibling today, do something nice for your parents today, smile at everyone today, say salam to everyone today. Those are quite generic, so I'm not going to cover those, but this stack here, but I will cover everything else that I've got in front of me. We'll start off with this one, which is to set the table for all your meals today. If you've seen my Ramadan activity kit video, you will have seen this coloring sheet that I included in their kits. The intention behind it is to have them color this, and this will probably be a day 1 or day 2 activity that I put into the envelope, so that they color this and then I laminate it for them, and then this becomes the placemat that they set the table with every day throughout Ramadan. I know that this is a one-day thing, but they will probably end up doing it for more than just one day. So I wanted to have this as a placemat, and I work the activity into the good deed as well, so that you don't feel overwhelmed in the sense that you have to make sure they've done their good deed and you have to make sure they've done an activity for the day. You can just combine the two, and that's what we're going to do with this one, for instance. Another one that you can do several activities with is to learn one of the 99 names of Allah today. And excuse me, we are going to do this. We are going to use a really fun activity by our Muslim homeschool to do this with, and I will share with you in the link below how you can do this. She has more than one example for how you can do this, and it's more than just learning the actual name and what it means. There's an activity that surrounds it, so you'll definitely find that resource helpful. I will leave the link in the description box below. For say a prayer for someone today, there isn't a specific activity around this. If you have older children, you could perhaps have them write it down in a dua book, but for my children, I think aside from just having them say a prayer for someone, I think it's important to kind of talk about how praying for somebody not only benefits them, you would think, but benefits yourself as well, and just kind of talking to them about that instead of just giving them that to do is just something I just thought I would mention that as well, just in case you were wondering how to go about doing this besides just telling them to say a prayer for someone. Another one here is to make Eid cards for your family today, and this is pretty straightforward. They will make some Eid cards, but we were also sent these wonderful coloring in ones from Islamic Moments, and they have a really lovely section at the back where you can write colored by, and it tells you what what design is on the front, and they're blank inside, so if you have a child that wants to write something in it, they can do, and they come with envelopes as well. I just thought I'd mention that in case you didn't want to kind of have to get out construction paper and pens and cut things out, and you just want something ready-made, that's an option. Another card that I'm actually really excited about is the practice. This is not focusing. Practice a sunnah of the Prophet today, and we are actually going to be doing 2 of these. So I'm not sure. I think pretty much the one that they will do on this actual day is to use miswak. They have never used miswak before. I'm actually kind of glad I saved it for this, because now we can maybe go forward using it. So I got them some skinny ones that have already been peeled at the edge. You can see that they can start off with. I will label them for them in some way, but I think that they will really find this exciting. So I'm going to talk to them about miswak and how the Prophet used it, and also I think they'll love it just because I'm constantly telling them not to bite their toothbrushes, and they'll be able to do that with this. So they will like that very much. One of the other sunnahs that we are trying to implement this year, and it's not just for the kids but for us as well, but I found this little, I've been meaning to try nabil, which is basically soaking dates in water and then drinking the water the next day. I will leave a link to how you do this in the description box below. And I've been meaning to try it, and then when I was at Poundland the other day, I saw this. You'll find this anywhere, to be honest, because it's a summer type thing, and it says summer living on the back here, but I just stuck a label over it and wrote Nabil on it, and essentially what I'm going to have the kids do is that it's their responsibility to make this every day, and then they drink it as well. So they're going to put the dates in and then add the water, and then the next morning all they have to do is kind of press this little button at the top here, and then the water will come out. And I think they'll find that really exciting. Anything like this with children, they get so excited about stuff like this. So I think they'll be really excited about doing that, and it will, we're implementing a new sunnah just for ourselves as well. And I thought that was a really fun way to do it with your children. You can do it with you can do it with a jar with older children and things like that. Just amend it to suit the age of the children that you have. these activities, donating some toys and donating some clothes, I have already put aside clothes that we are donating. There's a bag, and I just keep adding to it every couple of weeks. I've been doing that for a few months now, and so the bag is ready to go. The actual bag that we are donating, but as far as toys are concerned, I've actually put aside some books that I know we want to donate, and I have a sort of, I've made a mental note, and I did this last year as well. I made a mental note of the toys that we wanted to donate, or the toys that I knew they really weren't using very much. When it came down to actually donating them, I kind of sat down with them the night before, and we explained what we were going to be doing the next day. You could do this really early in the morning, but we were going very early the next day, so I didn't want to, we kind of opened it up a little bit earlier. So I told them, you know, and I kind of pulled out those ones that I had, you know, sort of made a mental note of. And I said, you know, this one you don't really play with, and somebody else can benefit them. Again, all of these toys were in really, really good condition. They would, you know, another child could still completely play with them. We wiped them down, cleaned them and everything. It's just that they weren't really playing with them anymore. So please don't donate anything that's broken or anything that you don't like. You know, give as you would want to receive as well. So, and they were really sort of receptive about it. I don't know if we will still have that toy drive again this year, but it was donating to orphans in Iraq, and it was really lovely because they actually got a certificate for donating and a little bag of sweets. And like a little leaflet that talked about, you know, where their toys were actually going. I'll try and see if I can find a link to the place that did it last year. And I really hope that they're going to be doing it this year again, because it would be so nice to be able to do that with the kids. So there's an idea for if you're donating toys. For putting money in the box at the masjid, this is straightforward, but I just wanted to mention that the reason that I wait the night before Ramadan begins to put the cards in is so that I can slot stuff like this in on a Friday when I know that we will most likely be at the masjid in the first place, so that they can actually do this. If you stick this in on like a Tuesday, chances are you're going to not get round to doing it, and then, you know, they don't really take it seriously. Then it doesn't become a thing that, you know, they're doing very conscientiously during the month. So have a little think about the things that you've got going on within your own schedule, within your own lives, and slot them in accordingly. The good thing about waiting until the night before, and the fact that this is already done for you, is it's literally a case of lifting up the envelope flap, slotting this in, and then putting a sticker on it. It's not going to take you, if you know where you want to put them, it's not going to take you more than 5 minutes at most to do this. So have a think about that when you're putting them in. For Bake a Sweet Treat for a Neighbor today, I have put in my Pinterest board, which I will link below, some really easy, you know, sweet treats that you can make for a neighbor with the help of your children. So they're child friendly, they're easy to do with your children, they're not very time consuming, and they don't require like tons and tons of ingredients. So if you have got these cards, and if you are going to be doing this, once you slot it into the week, once you know what week you're slotting it into, you know when you're grocery shopping that you might need to buy a few ingredients for that sweet treat. So again, you're keeping yourself prepared, you're keeping yourself ready for the things that you need to get done. So it's not a case of, oh, I've got to run out to the grocery store to get this, so never mind, we won't do it at all. If you're prepared, you can do all of the things. So make sure that you've got those things sorted. For these cards, these are all reciting surahs. So you've got Nas, Falaq, Fatiha and Ikhlas. I mentioned in my Eid gift guide, which again I will link above and down below if you haven't seen it before, that the Muslim sticker company does a little apple tree, like a fruit tree, that you take a sticker off of and you keep putting on the tree as you memorize a surah. So for my son who has memorized these, he hasn't seen the sticker chart yet. I'm going to bring it out during Ramadan. So for him, he'll be able to put these on. I know he's already memorized them, but he'll be able to put the stickers on every day that he does this. And for my daughter, she'll be able, I've just got a separate set of stickers for her, just regular dot ones, that she'll be able to put on the tree as well when she just reads it with me. So she's just going to read it alongside me, like I read it and then she repeats. So I'm not expecting her to memorize it or anything. She's only 3. that's what I'm hoping to do with them as well. The sticker chart is, I think it's only £4, and it's so brilliant. It's for the whole of Juz Amma, so it's going to last you so long, and it's just a brilliant gift for your child. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below if you want to check that out. For these two cards, let that focus, picking up litter and taking care of Allah's creation. I thought both of these would be really suited to having some days out, so going to the park or going to, I don't know, somewhere else basically where you know, you're likely to find litter. Unfortunately, you are likely to find litter a lot in the park on a weekend, or even on a weekday sometimes, so you can have them do that. If you are sort of particular about your children picking up litter or things like that, you know, take some gloves with you. I've got some disposable gloves that we use for specific things. I just grab a few that you can use to go with you, or even just take, if you've got carrier bags, just take those, turn them inside out, have them pick the thing up with carrier bags. And as taking care of Allah's creation today, you could maybe put some water in their water bottles or something like that, and have them just water a plant or a tree or something like that. Anything, you know, even or if you've got if you can have a cat or something like that in your neighborhood that you're happy to feed, or you want to, or there's birds in your area that you can feed or something like that. Something to do with taking care of Allah's creation. You know, those are the days that you can do it on, when you work it into a trip outside or just a day outside. The next one I've got is to make or wrap Eid gifts for family and friends today. So I have already done this for anybody that we are gifting to, but there are a few people that we are gifting to that I have the presents for, but I'm not wrapping because I specifically want the kids to wrap those. So one of those is for my husband. There's a present that it's not my present to him, it's the children's present to him, and they will wrap that. They will likely make a huge mess of it and everything, but all I do is cut like little pieces of tape for them, and I give them a sheet of wrapping paper, and then they wrap it all by themselves and they create a card for him. So that's a really good idea. If you don't have lots of family or friends that you are giving presents to, at the very least they can do it for their mum or dad. So that is a good idea for those. And then the last ones that I've got, actually not the last ones, the second last ones, around the du'as. So we've got learning the du'a for entering the home, leaving the home. And for those, sorry, there's only two of them. I've got a duplicate one there. So there's du'as for leaving the home and entering the home, which I think are the most important ones to learn, especially for leaving the home for children. And for those ones, I do have du'a printables on my website. I will leave a link to that in the description box below. They're a free set of printables. I've printed them out, laminated them for my children, and I put them up around the house. And I've also got a set of them on a key ring that we carry around with us, so that if we've forgotten to read the dua for leaving the home, by the time we've got to the car, we have them and then we can read it there. So I mean, I could tell them the dua, but I really want them to kind of just build a real close attachment to those dua cards. So that's an idea for you if you want to use the dua cards. They're completely free, and they're on my website to download and print out. The last one that I've got here is Vic of Time, remember Allah today, and you can do this in many ways. We are doing this by creating dhikr beads, and I've actually got like a little pack. Again, if you've seen my activity video, you will have seen this. There's a little pack of beads and some string that I've already put in their activity packs ready for this activity. But if you have younger children, you could just go through Alhamdulillah and other words and have them take pom-poms or even just little beads and things like that and throw them into a jar. So they say it and then they throw it into a jar, like they're counting essentially. Or something that we've done before as well is use the abacus, and we've kind of just moved, the kids have done it in turns and they love doing it. They just move one bead across and you know, say subhanallah, and then they move another one and say alhamdulillah, and then another one, and so on and so forth. So that's another fun way that you can do dhikr time. Instead of just kind of sitting there with your children and having them repeat after you, it can get quite boring for young children, especially the age group that I'm talking about. So I have a 3 and 4 year old, and if I sat there and did that with them in a very kind of boring way, they really wouldn't be engaged at all. But this gives you some ideas for how you can do things in different ways and more fun ways, things that children will be interested in and attracted by. I hope that's given you some inspiration. If you've got the Good Deed calendar cards already, thank you so much for supporting my work. If you do not have them and you want to print them out, again, the link is in the description. I will be showing you how I put all the cards in and seal it and everything once I've got everything up, and it's actually going to go up behind me, which is where we usually put it. I'm going to be filming a video for when we decorate for Ramadan next week, so you'll see everything that we put out, a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about, you know, throughout the past couple of weeks in my blog posts and in my videos, and I hope that you enjoy that as well. So please subscribe if you want to be notified when I post that. Again, if you found this video useful, please share it with a friend, give it a thumbs up, and if you aren't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. And inshallah, I hope to see you in my next one. Until then, assalamu alaikum.